Well, the discovery of the double helix, by any measure, is one of the major moments in the history of mankind. And it's been touted in many ways, but it's famous in part not only for the brilliance of the science of Watson and Crick, but for the beauty of the original paper in 1953 in Nature.
This was a short description of their proposed structure, along with a simple diagram, which they published quickly in order to stake their claim. Towards the end of it, in a now famous understatement, they wrote that it had not escaped their notice that the pairing of complementary bases immediately suggests a possible copying mechanism for the genetic material. In other words, their proposed structure revealed the long-sought secret of heredity. It was easy to imagine that the double helix could split apart, and that each strand could then produce a mirror image of itself through the pairing of A with T and C with G. The end result would be two exact copies of the original double helix.
Told us how the sequence of bases on a chain could be copied. And that had always been the big problem.
They had a foresight about how to translate structure into function, which might have seemed really somewhat foolhardy, but almost every element of which has turned out to be true.
In 1962, Nobel Prizes were awarded to Watson, Crick, and Wilkins. Notably missing was Rosalind Franklin. The Nobel Prize is only awarded to the living, and sadly, she died of cancer in 1958 at age 37. Years later, Sir Aaron Klug, her last and closest colleague, discovered that given a bit more time, Rosalind Franklin might have won the race she didn't know she was in.
See, she didn't publish many papers on DNA, but I have her notebooks here, copies of her notebooks, and I went through them and I saw how pretty close she had got to the answer herself. This is February 1953, and here she's analyzing the distances on the X-ray diffraction photograph, and as you can see, she's trying to decide between a 3-chain or a 2-chain helix, and then concludes that the 3-chain helix is highly improbable. And I have absolutely no doubt that if Watson and Crick hadn't intervened, and I think Crick agrees with me, she would have got it out in due course.
The answer, she would have got the answer over a couple of months if she'd continued to think about it, but she wasn't obsessed by DNA.